Gaming Morning Show continues. It is 7:27 on the West Coast, hanging out with you this morning. Appreciate you being with us wherever you might be. It is time to talk to Kate Sánchez, the editor-in-chief of But Why Tho, as we have a couple of times. Always like when you have a chance to join us, Kate. It is good to see you this morning. You were covering South by Southwest, and we're going to get to that in a moment, but today is apparently Awkward Moments Day. So, like... do you have like an awkward moment like this one right now in this very moment?
I think every time I go get curbside and they say enjoy and I'm like you too and they walk away and I'm like, why did I say that? And it never stops. Like I think I have done it at least 4 times in the last week. So that's my awkward moment. Enjoy
we were literally
your job.
just talking about that.
Yeah. The whole drive there, you're like, don't say you too, don't say you too, don't say you too, don't say you too. You too.
Oh, damn it. Every time. It is good to have you back. You are covering, like I said, South by Southwest, which it sounds like is the first time it's been virtual. Have they done this before? Is this the first time you're covering? Kind of give us an outlook on, how the whole event's going this year.
Yeah, so last year was actually the first time that South by Southwest physical hadn't taken place. They had to do an impromptu South by Southwest online piece in that PR had to move everything virtual. And then usually there's a virtual screening room where you can watch like a select number of movies. But this is the first time that they've moved the entire process online. And this is what film festivals have been doing since the pandemic hit. I've attended a few online ones. But I'm actually really surprised with how organized and well done the UI is for South By's. Like I haven't had any issues, which is a damn first.
Nice. What have been the best watches so far?
Oh my God. There is a film called Broadcast Signal Intrusion with Harry Shum Jr., where it is essentially the mixture of sci-fi, horror, and like film noir, like the obsessive detective that like goes down into a spiral because he needs to get answers. Only he is a film archivist, and it's all based, it kind of gets its grounding in the Max Headroom broadcast intrusion stuff that happened in Chicago in the 80s, and it takes that and it's like, but what if that was sinister? It's really well done. I have like Harry Sheen Jr. hasn't been in too much stuff, but he is phenomenal now because he originally was in Glee like way back when, and now he's starting to get more roles again, which I'm really excited for because he's just really good. That's probably my top like genre watch that like isn't gonna make you feel sad. And then my top watch of the film so far, or of the film fest so far, is called The Fallout, but that one is a heavy movie. It's about a school tragedy and kind of like how the teens deal with it afterwards. It's really emotional and really raw, but it's a phenomenal film. So that's kind of where I've been. I think I've watched a total of, what's 8 plus 7? 15. I've watched 15 films so far.
Wow.
Everyone.
I can't believe Glee's been gone so long that we can describe it as way back when.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what the heck?
Man, that kind of makes me sad.
A little bit. I realized it when I said it, and I was like, oh, yep.
So I see on your Twitter you just posted about how you didn't realize it was going to be so time consuming and you wish you had taken time off. Can you tell us a little bit about like the schedule of it? Like how do they space it out really well? Do they just have it like movie? Kind of how is that? How have they set that up?
So it's actually paced really well. Like, you have a movie at 10. For me, at least, I've had movies at 10, 12, 2, 4, break, and then 8 o'clock. So like it's actually pretty good. The cool thing about it is that a lot of movies overlap. So I haven't been giving myself a break, and when I have downtime between films, I watch whatever I missed because I watched another one. But the difference is when you're doing South by in the flesh, you have to run like literally run between buildings, and I'm talking blocks. Like in 2019, which is the last physical South by, we scootered down a highway to get to the place we needed to go because a Uber was going to take too long and we had a red carpet thing to do and we didn't want to miss it. And so like, because everything is like that, you limit yourself on what you can actually screen because you want to give yourself enough time to go and, you know, whatever. Then you have physical screenings that are limited by, you know, people who can fit in the room and also the number of times the movie is playing. So a lot of the feature films that are happening at South by will only run at maybe like one time, and that's usually their prime slot and then they're done. Here it's all at your fingertips, and so you kind of run into that inability to balance work and life because you're consistently just watching films. It's like, oh, I can just put another one on. And then you realize, oh crap, I've watched this many. I need to start writing. I think I've written 8 pieces so far. I have 3 more in drafts. And it's intensive in a different way. And because I underestimated my ability to guard my balance, I'm having, it's a little bit more intimidating because I'm watching films during the day while I'm doing my actual work, and then I pause a film, go to a meeting, okay, go back to the film, and then I have to write all at night. So because there's no kind of detachment from it, it's a lot.
Wow.
Gotcha.
Because usually I just take off the whole week.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And now that they're getting so many of these systems and this infrastructure in place, do you get a sense that they might be using this sometime in the future, even when they can have a physical event?
I wish that they would, because there's a lot of really good things that a virtual platform offers. Accessibility is one thing specifically because everything at South by is closed captioned. Every movie. If you know, usually screeners don't have closed captioning, so they're not inclusive when it comes to folks who need to do that, and so it limits the type of critics who can actually review them. But that is one thing that the virtual platform has offered. Additionally, the wiggle room and access is like I can pretty much watch every single movie that I want to watch without having to worry about it, versus in person I'm having to fight against other outlets to gain even just access to see the movie. And that's something that is really good, and it's opened the playing field. But there are some problems that come from this model. So from the festival standpoint, they do not make as much money, so it's not something that they're going to stick with when they can do in person. And on top of that, it is geo-locked. So South by Southwest is an international film festival, but it's geo-locked a lot of the films to only being watchable in the United States. And that's happened at other film festivals. Like I covered Fantasia Fest last year, which is an international film festival, but I got a list of movies I could request and everything else was geo-locked to Canada. But they don't tell press this ahead of time, and so it messes with the schedules that especially for freelancers, because usually freelancers will send off their, I'm going to watch XYZ movie, will you pay me to write this? They'll get the yes, and then they come to the fest and they realize, oh, half the movies that I pitched to these outlets who would be giving me my income, I can't watch because they're geo-locked.
Oh, no.
So there are like problems that raise with it, but I hope that they at least keep with the accessibility tools that make this great. And I think one of the reasons that it is such an accessible platform right now is because they wanted everybody, not just, you know, press like me to come and enjoy it. And it's been a really nice place. Like there's a chat window that pops up while you're watching the movie, so you can actually chat with people as the movie's going on, kind of like Twitch. And they even built in a pop out system, so I can pop the window out and I can write or do something while I'm watching it in the corner of my screen. So there's a lot of really cool fancy stuff that like South by has done with their UI platform, or with their virtual platform, and their UI that other film festivals have not done. So I think it would be a waste to kind of chuck it once people could go into physical, but from a money standpoint, I don't see them staying with all of it, sadly.
Kate Sánchez, editor-in-chief of But Why Tho podcast, thank you for stopping by. We love having you on the show, so I'm happy you were able to stop in. If anyone wants to check out the stuff that you're working on for South by Southwest or in general, what are the best places to find it?
head over to butwhythopodcast.com, click the movies tab. That is all South by stuff. We have 3 people covering directly for But Why Tho Geek Community. Both have been on here before, CJ and Nisha. And then Carolyn Hines is covering for her podcast as separate, but it also gets housed on our site. So we have a lot of coverage. I think between all of us, we're at about 23 pieces. So go check all of that stuff out. And you can follow me on Twitter at ohmymythrandir. I have a running thread of all the movies that I'm watching and light impressions. So that's probably the easiest.
And we shared some of those images that you've been sharing on your Twitter account in this interview today. Kate, we're still positive wishes out to Texas. I know that there's a lot of work still to be done, but we certainly appreciate your time this morning on Gaming Morning Show.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Kate.
It's Kate Sánchez joining us on Gaming Morning Show.